Hello, hello. How are you? If you can hear me, please say yes. I can hear you. Hello, pre-op beer. Thank you for welcoming back. Cheers. Well, hello there. Ooh, look at that. I am way off. Let's try to fix this really quick, just so that everyone's on the same page. By the way, can you guys hear me? I'm sure my audio is alive and well, but who knows? In live streaming, if something breaks, there's nothing you can do. Everything is being recorded. So there you go. Hello, how are you? Thank you for being here. If this is our first time meeting, please do not be shy. My name is Holly Lee. I am your virtual career coach. I run a live stream every single week to help you answer those interviewed questions with Amazon or any employer of your choice. Although I came from a Amazon recruiting leadership and training background, I do talk about any employer. I've worked with a number of them as well, though a lot of you guys only came to me for Amazon, okay? Still, so about that topic, I am having my usual morning, which is my favorite mug here, the Madrid Starbucks cup. It is very sad when I have relocated from Seattle to the sunny Phoenix, Arizona. I have given away my entire international collection of Starbucks mug. So this is one of the very few I've kept from Madrid. Cheers. All right. In today's topic, I wanted to talk about how I can help you be prepared on your recruiter call, aka recruiter screen. I guess first and foremost, if you're truly new, help a girl out by smashing that thumbs up in the video because YouTube really love to expand the network of everyone who is typing any word with interview coaching, career coaching, or just interviewed at all would attract them to my channel. And let's be honest, that really helps me into pumping more content for you, right? So don't forget to hit subscribe if you find my videos valuable. Thumbs up. All right, let's carry on here. So there are two types of recruiters and recruiter screens. If you are struggling with passing the recruiter called, or you are struggling into knowing more about the position that you're being considered for, Amazon or any employer at all, then stick around because I actually put down at least 10 questions to help you better prepare yourself and ask the recruiter. Okay? So first and foremost, there are two types of recruiter call. I don't really call it phone interviewed. A lot of the folks, you guys, your amazing community member whom I have helped in my coaching service called it recruit. What do you call it? You call it phone interview. It's not a phone interview. Let me explain myself. Okay. Two types of recruiter, as mentioned. The first type is more of the junior mid-level recruiter. Well, I've also seen quite a few of the senior folks as well, where they follow a script or they have the script memorized because they've been doing this for quite some time now, right? Which some of the basic questions, this is not including in uh, in my 10 questions, by the way. It's more of getting to know you, warming you up. For instance, what is your salary expectations? Are you willing to work in a hybrid model? Are you willing to come to the office 3 times a week? Are you aware that there is a 2-hour commute one way for your new job? Do you have experience working in a remote environment? Those small talk. Now, because of everything you hear in the world, there are additional questions that recruiter asks basic questions, which is, are you authorized to work in the US? Will you now in the future need sponsorship? That is correct, which is why branding and resume is one of the biggest things that I have created as far as a digital course. You could more than happy to learn more. I'll leave the description in the link of this video. It talks about removing year of education from your resume. It talks about how to eliminate a lot of the biases. Let me explain a little bit why I make that statement, because when employer asks, will you now or in the future require sponsorship, generally is based on your last name or your name. That is correct. I'm just going to call spade as spade, which is true, right? If your name is John Smith, for example, no one's going to ask you that. I know. That's what I mean by eliminating any kind of biases, because you want that recruiter, AKA employer, to focus on you and your credential on the piece of paper, which is your resume, right? Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the chat for me and I'll be more than happy to answer for you. Okay. Now carry on. Another thing that we'll ask you is your salary expectation. When it comes to that, some recruiters do, some doesn't. For instance, if they see that you've been with the same employer for a long time, I don't know if you guys notice, a lot of the financial industry does pay reasonably well. You would think that a lot of the tech company, for examples, could easily afford you. That is not true, because back in the days when I used to recruit for Amazon, I was having a really hard time closing candidate from startup. People from startup make more money than Amazon, as an example, okay? So when you take that recruiter call, prior to that, you need to be prepared to know what you're seeking as far as compensation. I know, guys, for those of you who've been following me for the last 5 years, know that I hate with a passion to talk about salary up front, but let's pause that for a second. That's actually in my top questions to ask your recruiter. So carry on. Some more of those basic question is, do you have any, it's just, I don't even know how to say this properly legally, right? A lot of the questions on the job applications, once you're on the phone, a lot of the recruiter are redundant to ask you the same thing. So it kind of makes me wonder what the environment and the culture is from the employer. Okay. So just keep in mind and be mindful that when you get on the phone with the recruiter interviewed or a phone interview, not necessarily, that's a hiring manager interviewed. So if I were you, I would be very explicit to ask whomever that's emailing you, will this be having a conversation with the recruiter or the hiring team, so that you can be better prepared. Okay. So let's just say that you have encountered a senior or a seasoned recruiter. The way how I've recruited my entire career is I don't ask you about, basic talk, getting to know you. My getting to know you is, hey, what are you looking for? Thank you for making the time with me. Can you share more about what you have built at ABC company, assuming that you are interviewing for a software engineer position, right? Whatever that may be. So I like to break the ice to make my candidate feel comfortable into going straight to their background and warm them up a little bit of why we're having this conversation. Okay. A lot of recruiters don't do that. In fact, I wanted to say about 70% of the recruiters that I have personally worked with don't even ask you a little bit about what you have built, what you've accomplished, what you've done. That's really part of their job. It's true. Okay. So I wanted to share this top questions that I have listed for you. And as soon as I figure out how to share that, right? It's been a little bit tricky, guys, because I've been playing around with it and now it kind of just disappeared. Let me see if I could project on here. If not, no big deal. I'll put it in a timestamp and I can add the file later on. Hang on one second. Yep, right there. Okay, let's make this small. Okay, so here's a list that I have made for you. So let's kind of go over that a little bit, okay? The first one is, why is this role open? I always wanted to ask the recruiter this questions because I can tell by their voice, is it a culture issues? How long did you spend trying to fill this position? Does a hiring manager know what he or she is looking for? So I find that every time when I ask these questions, I almost caught them off guard, okay? Now we're going to jump all the way to the very, very end, number 10. And I will... Number 10 right here. Oh, I guess I can't really, I don't want to share my entire screen here with you yet. Okay, number 10 at the very, very bottom. I'm purposely making this small because I don't want your eyes to be all over the place. Let's jump from 1 to 10 and work backward a little bit here. Number 10 is, what is the salary range for this role? I'm very hesitant to even put that on the list, but what I have noticed that because of today's job market, I need a sip of water here. I find that a lot of employers are having unrealistic responsibility for the role. Let me explain what that means. That means they're going to pay you XYZ for one headcount or one role, and they expect you to do a job of 3 to 6 people. You see where I'm going? And I've also seen that, I don't know if you guys heard the news, I read it somewhere and I should have just captured that. It is true. There are employers out there who are actually decreasing the salary or total compensation. I mean, there's not a lot of company out there that offer sign-on bonuses anymore. They removed that completely. There are company that's offering equity. If it is a private or smaller employer that's not public, it doesn't matter what equity they offer you. It's non-existent until they are IPO, right? So this is what I mean. The first thing I would ask, if you are somebody that has a lot of experience, right? I'm talking about my senior principal, architect, or higher level folks here. If you are making at least the 6-figure, 100,000 a year, for instance, I would ask, what is the salary for this position? Salary range for this position. If not, you're going to waste your time. You're going to waste the employer's time. You don't want to, even if you're looking to practice interview to hopefully land the right job, you really don't want to waste your time. I would advise you to do that. Okay. Now, we just start from number 10, going all the way from number 1 is, why is this role open? Right? So you get a feel of the culture and just hear the recruiter's voice. Number 2 is location for the job. That's a big deal. In the past, I don't even advise any of you guys to ask for location, right? The one thing that I've noticed on job description, and thank you for all of you guys who's been sharing all of this information with me, they can put Canada, for example, and this is a remote role. But when you start interviewing, you realize very quickly that you actually have to travel 30% of the time to the States or other part of the world. So you have to be very cautious with remote opportunity or hybrid. Seek to understand more of what is the percentage of traveling that you'll be doing that's leading to number 3, especially when you're the head of a household or you're single parents like myself. There's arrangement involved, okay? Number 4, how big is your team? Meaning, how big is the team that you'll be going into? You need to know some information, right? Before you are, the next step is what? Phone interview with the hiring manager or somebody in the hiring team. So before you do that, you need to know some information of how big the organization is, even though for the most part, the recruiter should be able to ask you that. Should be able to answer those questions. Okay. Number 6, what does the hiring manager look for in this role? The ironic thing is, I find if I ask the same questions from the recruiter and the hiring manager, it's completely different. So I want to hear what the recruiter think of what the expectation for the role is, and then the hiring managers, because oftentimes hiring managers have no clue what they're looking for until the position is filled. That is true. It's not even about the recession. A lot of the time they think they want ABC and they end up wanting XYZ, ABC, and EFG. Okay, so it's better to ask more questions for understanding. Number 7, what does a successful candidate look like? Basically, Mr. and Mrs. Recruiter who's on the phone with me right now. I personally, I would actually, based on how the recruiter answered the top questions, I would actually ask, how, just by curiosity, how many people are you looking to interview to fill this role? I would absolutely ask them that. Again, you're not going to ask a recruiter 10 questions, right? You're not. I will pick your top 3 or 4 out of my list to ask the recruiter, because what I'm sharing with you is probably not relevant to everyone who's listening to this live stream. Okay. Number 7. Okay. What does a successful candidate look like so you can get a feel of the ideal candidate for the role? Number 8. What is the time frame in getting the role filled? Yes, I want to ask the recruiter that because sometimes you guys heard it right. It's a thing where you hear recruiter ghosted me. The employer went dead silence. I have a phone interview. I thought it went well. The recruiter or the hiring manager told me that they really like me. And what happened? I can hear the crickets. I can hear them. I can hear the fish swimming across the ocean. So a lot of the time they just went silence because they could be overwhelmed. There's a lot of candidate. They simply forgot about you. That is true. We are all human, right? Whatever the excuses are, and yes, I call them excuses, you wanted to actually get a feel. It's almost putting the responsibility on the recruiter to get back to you. And if you guys notice, these days, there's no such things as the employer sending you a survey for candidate experience. Because quite honestly, I don't think a lot of employers care about that anymore, which is why I'm dying to talk about content to help employers position themselves better into making the candidate you feel more comfortable in the job hunting process and how I can help those organizations show up better for the public. All right. Number 9, what is the tenure of this team? That's trying to tell me how the culture is. Are there any toxicity in the workplace environment? Quite honestly, there's going to be some type of toxic in any environment, but I'm just trying to feel what percentage. Usually you can hear it from the recruiter's voice as well. The funny thing is, from the recruiter's perspective versus from the hiring manager, could be drastically different. So it's good to ask those questions. And lastly goes back to number 1. What is the salary range for this role? I would use that as the first questions to the recruiter. Back in the days, okay, let's pause for a second. Back in the days, if I'm recruiting for any employer, if somebody asked me that questions, I would get turned off. I would think to myself, well, I don't even know if you're good for this role. I don't even know if you're the right fit. Why are we wasting our time talking about money? But if I know that you have been doing this for 8 years, work for organizations that are a bigger brand, I pretty much can tell because I've been doing this for 25 years, how much you're currently making. I want to make sure that you're not wasting my time and my team's time. Furthermore, if I can't close you by giving the compensation you're looking for, I would just seal the deal right there and then and just close it out and move on with another candidate. Okay. So let me go ahead and remove this. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave in the comment for me. By the way, if you're truly new, you want to go ahead and download my free STAR method example. This is my biggest business impact during my time at Amazon. If you are truly new, in my playlist, there's a playlist called Amazon Interview Questions and Examples. I have 8 different templates of my personal experience to share with you. That is true. Raw data, guys, to help you create your answer. Okay? So what have we learned today is that there are 2 types of recruiter screen. There are recruiter screen that can basically say, where are you located at? Let me tell you about the geography of this positions. Let's talk about the salary expectations. Let's talk a little bit about this role. Let me share with you what the hiring manager is looking for. Very basic recruiter screen, not really an interview. And then when you hit one of those senior professional recruiters, they will go deeper into your background. My favorite question is, can you walk me through the most challenging project you've ever built? And I will sit back and hear how you would able to answer that. I'm looking for your thought process, your critical thinking skills. Are you able to deliver results? And I can kind of tell with a couple probing questions, the level of scale and scope. That's because I've been in tech recruiting for a very long time. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave in the comment for me. Mahish, hello, Mahish and Priyop. Let me know if you have any questions. I do find that a few of my amazing YouTube members were upset with me because my live stream were cut short last week. I'm here for you guys for a full hour, or if I see a massive amount of folks who comes in here and have questions, I will stay to answer all of them. But if you're shy in the background and you don't know if you should say hello, I encourage you to come in and do so. If not, nobody want to live stream if I'm not here to support your work or support you. Okay. So I'm going to wrap this up. I will put timestamped in everything we talk about today. Usually it takes about a week for me to do that. My video editor is actually on vacation, like she should, right? Next week, it is a traveling week for me. So the live stream, I believe I've moved from Thursday to Wednesday. But if you ever wonder what week, what day I'm coming on live in general, it's always going to be Thursday now at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard. If it's a holiday or something changes, pay attention to the YouTube channel because all of my upcoming streams are listed on there in the video. If you clicked on it, it should reflect on your time zone. And of course, we're in the same date, right? Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here. Hopefully that helps shed some light and help you pass your recruiter screen so you can move on to the hiring manager phone interview. Bye.